let's call the meeting. We done had a roll call, and I think we're gonna continue on. Let's see, okay, the guest speaker's done gone. We need to approve the, meeting minutes. I
Do our
hear
consent items first.
the consent, yeah, that's what I said, the
Mr.
consent.
Chairman, I want to mention just for
approve.
the record.
Yeah.
I had a work session and call meeting on the May 24th, and I sent those out late, but I'll have those on the next meeting to approve. I've got them done, but I just left them off because I don't think everybody had a chance to look at them.
Okay, we got
So
all
we
the rest.
can do them at the next meeting.
Okay. You want us to go ahead and approve these then?
Yes, sir, if you can.
Okay. Do I hear a motion on that? Approve these meeting minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the, meeting minutes, call meeting May the 3rd, 2021, the work session May 10th, 2021, the public hearing May 10, 2021, and the regular meeting May 10, 2021.
Okay, I have a motion. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
Let's have a vote on it. Commissioner Burris,
Aye.
Mr. Pope, Commissioner Tanner,
Aye.
Mr. Barner,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay. On the agenda items, we have the, conflict of interest policy, and, we've had some discussion on it. Is there any more discussion on it that anybody needs to bring out before we ask for a motion on it?
Well,
If not, you have
I
something.
guess we're gonna just, make the motion and then we can have discussion
We
there.
have a motion on which way we're gonna go with it.
I make a motion that we accept the option number 2 on the conflict of interest.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay. Let's, vote on it. We're gonna
Some discussion.
accept,
Let's talk about it.
is there
Yeah.
any discussion on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Madam Attorney, on the, option 2, everything but on the, I guess the penalty, for if there's any interference from the, chairman on this, it'd be instead of 1 year, 2 year.
Certainly, that's at the commission's discretion. So what we're asking for tonight is for you all to take a vote to give us direction on what policy you all would like to see in place. And that would include, option number 2 is a family bidder who's allowed to bid, but the related commissioner must abstain from any sort of vote or oversight involving a project where there's a family bidder. And so if you desired to also, instead of a 1-year penalty for a violation of that oversight rule, if you desired for that to be a 2-year penalty, that certainly is at your discretion. And if there's any other conditions that you would like, such as I know earlier you mentioned the affidavit idea, we certainly could include that also. We just want to make it make sure that it's part of the
Sounds
motion.
good.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any more options on it? I mean, addendums or anything need to be added?
And just for clarity for our minutes, Commissioner Barnard, would you like to amend your motion for it to be option 2, but for the penalty of violation to be 2 years, and then also to include Commissioner Burris's desire to have whatever related commissioner to execute an affidavit just stating that they don't have any ownership in the company?
Yes.
And you'll amend your
I'll
second,
amend
Commissioner
the
Burris?
second
Okay.
on it.
Thank you for the clarity for that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I amend my second on that also.
Okay. You got a second on it?
Call the vote.
All right, let's cover the vote. Commissioner Burris,
Aye.
Mr. Pope,
No.
Mr. Tanner,
Aye.
Commissioner Barner,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
And that
I can vote on that, I guess.
He can vote on, yes, the policy.
But I can't vote on
But this would go for any
that's
commission,
just for all.
That's correct.
any commission.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, Ware County speed ordinance. Did I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion, we accept the speed ordinance from the DOT, and it was approved as well by the sheriff.
Okay, I have a second.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that speed ordinance? Everything's been accepted the way it is?
Yes.
Okay, let's vote on it. Mr. Burson,
Aye.
Mr. Pope,
Aye.
Mr. Tanner,
Aye.
Mr. Burner, Chair votes aye. All right. Now, on C, the 2021 Cat Brand Loader purchase, for Public Works, we have a price of, what was that price? 66,000.
Not for the purchase.
That's to pay off the,
Lease pay on.
Please.
pay off on the rental, what's left on the rental. Is that right, Scott?
Yes, sir, it's $66,536.60.
Now, that'll purchase that machine from Cat that we, and it won't be under lease anymore.
That's correct, yeah, we'll just buy it out.
Buy it out,
the lease
okay.
out.
Okay, what, on the warranty, Michael, we can still purchase a warranty on that?
No, I doubt there's any warranty
Okay.
on that.
Okay,
Lease run is actually expired on that machine, so we're just trying to clean up the paper on that. We will still wanna trade it in or whatever we decide to do, but we can do that when we bring it all back as a big package to you.
Okay.
We're just trying to clean up this where we can keep a front end loader to operate.
Right.
Until we can come back with a,
But it's
Great.
your belief that we'll get at least the 66
Yes, sir.
back or more
Yes, sir.
if we buy it now and sell it later.
yes, sir.
Okay.
You'll be working on some prices?
Yes, sir.
On this?
Yes, sir.
On the buy report, whatever?
Yes, sir.
I hear a motion that we buy that loader.
I'll make the motion to buy the loader, the price and so forth.
Okay. I will second.
I'll second.
Let's vote on it. Mr. Burson,
aye.
Mr. Pope, Mr. Tanner,
Aye.
Mr. Barner,
Aye.
Chair votes aye. You will buy the loader. Okay. Okay, we're going on the clerk of the court, case file Sheldon. And we have a quote on that. So, do we have a motion to purchase those Shelby?
I'll make a motion. That was first.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
I've got one, the clerk's got money in her present budget to buy this?
Yes,
buy
sir.
this with?
Yes, sir. There's enough money in her operating budget to purchase it.
Okay.
She, okay, we can go ahead and purchase it. Do they install that stuff too?
Yes, sir.
It'll be installed.
Yes, sir.
does?
There's quite a bit, it takes them a while to put it in. It's somewhat of a doing, because they have to build the platform with the tracks and everything.
How long will it be before they, I mean, is it like 90 days or 120 days, or they give us?
Actually, once we do this, I think last time he had ordered, and it took about 3 to 4 weeks for them to come in and set it up for them.
Okay.
It's roughly they're about 4 weeks roughly, from what I remember on the first go-round, which has been about 3.5 years ago.
Okay. Anything else on it before we vote on it? If not, let's vote on Shelby. Mr. Burson,
Aye.
Mr. Pope, Mr. Tanner,
Aye.
Mr. Burner, chair votes aye. Okay. Office lease agreement. I hear a motion on that.
I make a motion, we accept the lease agreement from CASA Action Pack for juvenile court office.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, is any discussion on it?
No discussion, but I'd just like to state for the record, I'm declaring a conflict of interest. Chair of the board at Action Pack and Casa is under Action Pack's umbrella.
Okay.
Under discussion, didn't you recommend that the lease be adjusted to, be an ongoing lease?
Yes, sir.
unless
To
Anybody
be
wants
automatically renewed, if we can make that adjustment. And, that way, with a 30-day, probably a 30-day written notice if each
Right.
party wants to terminate.
How long is this lease?
1 year,
1 year?
let's say 1 year,
How much is it?
$1,
$1 a month, $1 a year?
$1 a year.
$1.
I think it was also with the condition that they were providing certain renovations and upkeep to that area, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Let's vote on it. Mr. Burke, you gonna abstain? Right. Okay. Mr. Pope, Mr. Tanner,
Aye.
Mr. Barner, chair votes aye. Hey, now we'll get a Cactus Street paving project bid award. And I think that's the bid with Thrift Brothers. I hear a motion on to accept that award.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we award the Cactus Street paving project, to lowest and the best bidder, Thrift Brothers LLC.
You got a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on it? If not, let's.
Mr. Chairman, before we vote, I just want to reiterate that based on the commission's vote earlier, as far as our local policy with regard to any time we have family members that are voting on a project, that the commissioner who's related to the family will abstain from the vote and from all oversight.
Right. Okay.
If that's the case, he shouldn't have been called for a vote or anything, had it? I mean, it looks like to me the approach here would have handled that part of the procedure since. Does that make sense?
All right. Oh, as far as calling the agenda item,
Yeah,
are you asking?
for that one,
I think that's fine as far as calling the agenda item, but he won't be involved in the vote. Like, he will not vote himself. That's fine.
And can't discuss
And he cannot have any oversight.
in the discussion. If we
And
were
no
to dis-
involvement, that's right, no discussion, anything of that sort, yes, sir.
Any more discussion on it? Call for a vote. Mr. Burson? Aye. Mr. Pope?
No.
Mr. Tanner?
Aye.
Mr. Barner? Chair abstains from voting. Okay. County manager's report.
I don't have anything, Mr.
We
Chairman.
don't have anything.
No, sir.
We have any commissioners' comments?
I've got a couple things. Did you check on the real estate we talked about before, about some of this property we got?
Yes, sir. We're advertising for the office across the street, and I've still got to get with building maintenance to see if we can consolidate the storage we have here on these two buildings. The other ones that we have are ones either lease or use ourselves. We don't really have anything that's vacant at this time, except for the building here that we're planning on demolishing.
What's the hold up on it, tearing it down?
Well, there's still some computer equipment in there that houses the court system, and with them going through that change of moving that out and having a company to do that, we're waiting on them to get their plan together to see what they can take out of the building or use, and then once that's done, then we can take it down. I believe Michael said that I don't know if he's here, but I believe he said that they could take it down. So that was our plan. If that's what you're talking about, the white building there, yes, sir.
Which building?
That's the old juvenile court building behind the jail.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Okay.
the old detective's office used to be.
Yeah.
In central office.
Can we get an update on the airport, please?
Yes, sir. Right now, things have gone back to normal. It's fully staffed. They're staying open the 12 hours. We got an operations manager in place that does scheduling and has the personnel there to fill in the gaps as they need it. We did hire someone to join the other employee that's out there. He started doing a real good job, and so far things are good. I've touched base with a couple of the pilots. They're happy to hear that, and I got a call, don't remember the gentleman's name, but he did say that was what they were hoping would take place because it being such a big asset to Ware County. So everything seems to be ironed out now.
Are you still checking on the self-service for the pilots that wants to do that?
Yes, sir. We're still waiting on the funds that would come from the feds to use for that situation. Right now, those monies haven't come in yet, and once we know how much that will be, then we'll know where to go from there, because that was what our plan was to use those monies to do that with. Rather than trying to take it out of our budget this year.
Who is the operation manager out there?
D. Meadows.
Okay.
And then Jesse Jordan is more of an administrative manager that handles paperwork and things of that nature.
Anything else?
No,
Scott, I wanted to tell you about and I'll ask them too about, we've been putting in some driveways and stuff and been using some metal pipe. And I don't think we ought to do that. And I think you done saw what you and I talked about it the other day. But we don't wanna really do that anymore with no metal pipe under these concrete driveways. If we're gonna do it, we need to do it with concrete instead of metal. Metal don't last too long. You rust out real bad. But let's continue with that. Okay.
So the metal pipe, you say it's in driveways?
Yeah, I think they probably ain't nothing wrong with it, but it just don't have a lifespan, and that's what we out there doing, changing it out.
Changing out the metal?
Metal, and we put metal back, and then we pouring a lot of concrete, spending a lot of money on top of it, so let's go with concrete.
So how much would, and I guess maybe Brandon, just a ballpark, what would metal, if you use the same amount of pipage in concrete, how much more would it cost?
Same price.
It's the same price as metal?
Yeah, it's the same price.
The,
I think Brandon
we've had a big increase in metal cost recently because of all the stuff that's been going up with costs and everything. I went back and looked to do a little research because of using the metal in the past to look at some past projects. On Woodell Drive, we used some corrugated metal pipe under driveways out there. It was a sandy area where people didn't want us digging real deep ditches. We had cover problems out there, so we decided to go with 18-inch corrugated metal pipe. And according to the contract prices, we saved about $4 a foot on the Woodell project by using the corrugated metal. In the Wayhoma area, we had a 36-inch corrugated metal pipe that we put in as part of that project, and it was $10 a foot savings using corrugated metal pipe on a 36-inch pipe out there in Wahoma. And then on Rowell Road, which has just been recently, we had a price for the RCP of $46 a foot, and then the 24-inch corrugated metal was $41.50. So there was a savings of almost $5 a foot with that. The price of the materials are $27 a foot for the metal and $27.94 for concrete right now, which was last week. That was like a current price because of the increase in cost that everybody's looking at with metal right now. And what we've been told, it's very scarce. So if you can price it, you might not even be able to get it right now. The steel mills, for whatever reason, I don't know, have not been making the steel and getting it out there to the manufacturers. So there's a lot of issues going on with trying to price stuff out right now. Some things are kind of out of sorts. So that's why I went back to look to see what historically we had been seeing here in Ware County, to look at where the prices had been. And there's no way I can know what they're gonna do in the future.
But right now, as we speak, the concrete is about the same as the metal.
Why you have less price in these bid prices and these contract prices is the metal pipe's going down in 20-foot joints or 30-foot joints, or I think you can even get it made 40 feet lengths, can't you, Michael? Whereas the concrete's coming in an 8-foot joint. So they're laying that pipe and then 8 feet at the time, bailing it up and laying the next pipe. So where you save in your overall cost, your contract price is in your equipment and labor, and the fact that you can put a lot more down.
I have to disagree with you on that. I've laid miles of pipe, and I'd heap rather lay concrete than I had metal. Metal has to be bedded in a select material, and it has to be tamped, and you got to hold it in place to tamp it.
Well, I'm just telling you what the contract prices were.
Yeah.
And the metal pipe was cheaper than the concrete pipe in the contract prices.
$3 or $4, but that ain't enough to do. But you said the labor. You was talking about labor.
Well, if the material costs are the same, but the contract price is less, they're having to make up for that difference in labor and equipment, because they're the only two other items left in the installation of that pipe. If you have material, labor and equipment, that's all you have. So we said that the material costs were equivalent, 27 versus 27.94. So therefore, they're making that difference up on the overall price in the installation.
It ain't gonna be no cheaper than putting it in. It costs you more money to lay metal pipe than it does. It costs the contractor more money. He'd rather lay concrete than he had metal.
So
Metal's aggravating.
Well, what's the engineer recommend?
Concrete.
Isn't he the engineer?
I don't know where he is now.
Yes, sir.
kind of
He's been to school, I think.
Yeah.
Experience.
We have a history of
Your
using.
policy. You're not
we have-
directing him.
We have a history of using metal pipe successfully with driveway pipes.
And
That's based on the projects we've done in the past. Is where
just
these
like the
numbers
ones you're
come
taking up now, Brandon. How long has that pipe been down there?
I asked around, and we're not aware of replacements. That facility went in the late 60s, early 70s. And so we're replacing it almost 50 years later. That was metal pipe that was there, that was dug up and replaced with metal pipe.
So
50 years later.
If that had been concrete, it wouldn't have
Still been there.
deteriorated anything. But you're
Correct.
talking about 50 years, but then you're talking about a cost factor too.
Yes, sir. And what prices are now, today, that fluctuates. The concrete price material, concrete pipe material price versus the corrugated metal. Metal prices seem to go up and down a lot more than the concrete does.
So you don't have a problem working with the concrete, do you?
No, sir.
And, you don't have a problem working with the metal either?
No, sir.
Okay.
The only issue with the concrete is, you know, the expense and the time it takes to putting it down 8 feet at a joint instead of 20.
Looks like y'all need to know you need to know which way to go, because the previous commission set a policy on driveways. And if the commission needs to change that policy, the commission needs to change the policy. So y'all won't be out there on the road and then having to, thinking you got the wrong pipe. I mean, the commission should state a policy so you'll know what to do.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
So what was the policy,
So-
Jared, right now?
Policy is to use corrugated metal pipe. Epoxy coated, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That was a decision based on at that time total cost of installation. But if it needs to change, the commission needs to decide.
Ain't no way I'd put in a driveway of my property or nobody else unless I use concrete pipe. I want something to stay. Why would I put particle board in the bathroom? Where the water's at? That's about the same thing. Hey, some of them corrugated metal pipes ain't last 10 years. I put in a bunch of them myself, and I said,
So what, it rusting out?
yeah, they rust out the whole bottom with.
I thought they had like a special coating and all that stuff to kind of,
What are they doing? That's what they're doing every day is replacing them.
but I mean, the one they replace them in, I have 40, 50 years.
No,
right?
they ain't been around. No, I remember when Pat Reed and them, they're out there, they built that place. I don't think it's been that long.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's been there 50 years.
That's what Mr. Pat told me.
Any more?
I believe we need to leave it up to our county engineers what pipe needs to be put down. As far as, that's why we pay him to engineer, let him make the decision what needs to go where.
I don't think we'll use a metal pipe thing. That's a bad decision to make right there. To go with corrugated metal when it lead up and it won't stand this acid. They tell you we full of acid down here in this soil and it'll lead up metal. And we know that. And we ain't talking about spending no more money. We should make a policy that everything be concrete. And we'd solve that problem. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to do what's best for the taxpayers of Ware County. If they're gonna spend $1, let's buy the best.
And on some of these driveways we got, especially in these residential areas, if we have to go in there and replace a metal pipe, if you go in there and start putting cement pipe, you're gonna be overkill. What's the smallest cement pipe that you can get to go in a regular driveway?
Get a 12 inches.
You can get 12-inch concrete pipe.
Well, like I say, I think that's why we got a county engineer, we got county public works, and, you know, once we set the policy, then we pretty much leave it to them, and then if something comes up that's not right, then we go to the manager, and the manager deal with them, but, you know, oversight sometimes, that's why we got to be careful about what we do. We set the policy, and then we kinda let them take care of it, you know. And like I say, I'm not in that business, you've been in that business about the, metal pipe versus cement, I don't know, you know.
I ain't never pulled up no old concrete to spend any good. I pulled up a lot of metal. And so why would I go do that, you know? If you're gonna go ahead and spend the money, go ahead and put some good pipe in there. I'd say.
Isn't it also whenever we bid these jobs out, or when they do it, that we pretty much specify what's supposed to be in there?
Yeah.
And if it calls for, Jared said, if we got a policy with the metal pipe and it's been working, you know, and like I say, if some of them been lasting 40, 50 years, that's pretty good while, then. I don't think none of us will be around here to worry about replacing it.
No. Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
I don't,
I'd just like to thank press for being here, Myra, and, our guests for being here today, and our attorney, you know, for trying to keep us on the straight and the narrow, you know, and, again, to our employees, especially our department heads, I know it's a lot of things that you all have to deal with, but hey, that's why, you know, you're in that position to make those decisions, and, you know, if it's not something that's right or something that this board doesn't approve of, we get with the manager and then we go from that way. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank y'all. I hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second,
Second?
vote. Mr. Barner,
Aye.
Mr. Tanner,
Aye.
Mr. Pope,
Aye.
Mr. Burris,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Meeting adjourned. All right.